What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Adobe Live and another XD Daily Creative Challenge. I'm super excited to be here with you guys, and we got some very interesting things to get into today. First off, I want to say welcome. What's going on, Gus? We have Leo. We have Mezayu. What's going on? We have Umacorn. You're back. What's going on? We have Fergie. We have Afroja. I'm glad to see you guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on day number 7. Let's hop into the nitty gritty, and if you guys are new, how to join and all that good jazz. All right, so first off, before we get started, we got 2 links down in the description, whether you're down here on YouTube or Behance. We have the starter file that we will be working on today, and we have how to join our creative community. Super simple. You'll get to behance.net/challenge/XD where you can join our community. We'll talk about that in a second. But if you didn't download the starter file already from the description, you can download it right here. And in our Discord, where you'll happily be able to be sent once you click join our community, you'll be sent to this lovely place with so many other creatives, and you can join us in by sending your work that you've been working on with us this week or the past week in the feedback section. Within challenges, you'll see other designers have submitted work in there as well. All right. Also, if you're on Behance, Sam has dropped those links for you, so you're ready to go. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about what we're doing today. Let's move our shoulders a little bit. Let's get working. All right, so first things, we are working on micro interactions. We're going to design a personalized shoe e-commerce platform incorporating micro interactions on product cards. We're going to do a little bit of different product cards today, but let's show you what we're working with, all right? So I have already, first off, when you download the project file or the starter file, you will see this, and you will see like half of this. You will see one of these in your artboard, which is fine. I'll show you. I just wanted to show you guys before we get started. I'm about to delete everything, but essentially what we're going to be working on today with different imagery, things like this. All right, so let's start from scratch. So I'm actually going to just duplicate this, and I am going to ungroup this grid, and I'm just going to delete all these individual bits. First, let's talk about how we actually put something like this together. It's super simple. We have 2 states. We have a regular and a hover state, but let's talk about how we actually produce something like this. This is very straightforward. So I'm going to delete this. Let us first measure our artboard. Obviously our width is 1920. I just changed it, but we're going to take this and let's kind of do some math real quick. We don't have to do the math. We just got to be aware of what we got to do. We want to make slits. We want to make 5 slits. So we want to have rectangles that are about the same width, but 5 across. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little rectangle. It doesn't matter the size. The width that we're going to do is 1920. And we're going to do the / divided by 5. And there we go. We have whatever 1920 divided by 5 is, and this is 384, which should give us, if my math is correct, or Adobe's math is correct, it should be the size of this sliver, which it is. Perfect. We can French kiss that away, or what is it? Chef's kiss. French food is good anyway. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this segment all the way down. I have 2 bars here. I have my top bar and I have my bottom. I'm going to make sure. There we go. And I'm going to take this off our artboard for really quick while we work with it. And I'm going to take one of my assets. By the way, this shoe is very nicely done by an amazing individual or collective called Revolt. You can find amazing artwork like this on Unsplash for the free as long as you give credit. And hey, what's going on, Kara? Glad to have you. All right, let's see. So what we're going to start with is we're just going to take this red one again. We're going to copy this image. We're going to Control-Alt-V. You're going to do Command-Option-V if you're on a Mac. And we basically just put this photo inside of this shape here, which is awesome. Now, all I'm going to do from here is I'm going to drag another rectangle out here. I'm going to paste the sizing in this as well, because what we're going to do is we're basically going to we're going to put an overlay on it. So I'm going to take the border off. I'm going to change the color to this purple. And I'm just going to stack these two. I'm going to turn down I could just turn down the opacity. I could do a couple things. Maybe I wanted to instead do a linear gradient where the top is that, or the bottom is that nice dark, and the top has a little bit of some opaqueness to it. So it shows through the shoe a little bit. Something like that. And what I could do here, so there's a couple elements, just going back to this, seeing what we have. We have our price tag, we have our little bit of a body copy, and then we have our call to action. So let us go ahead and design that very quickly. I'm just going to type out $9.99 with our $sign. We can't forget the $sign, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. How many suits does he have? That's a great question. I have one for every day of the week. All right, so I'm going to I have the font size tungsten. I'm going to make that bold. It's an easy day. And I'm going to kind of left align that. I'm going to get our body copy in here. I'm just going to drag a box. I'm going to type some things. I'm going to reduce the size to where I kind of like it. I'm going to do it around 25. And I don't want bold. Maybe we'll rock with a light version of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch this box out just a little bit to how much I want that paragraph to be. I'm going to go to my plugins, and we're going to go to my handy dandy Lorem Ipsum plugin. We're going to go quick Lorem Ipsum kaplow. I don't know what any of that says, but we don't have to type, which is perfect. All right, so we just need our button. I do want to cross-reference where we're at really quickly. All right, our 99 is a little bit bigger. We have the buy now. So I'm just going to pull on this just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and make our button. Here, I'm going to just pull in these little circles that are in the corners. I'm just going to pull them in. I could go over here to the radius as well and mess around with that, but I can just simply do it there. And I'm just going to type in caps on buy now. Samuel, are you using an 8 grid or a 10 grid system? That is a very complex question. I am using my eyes. In my mind, all websites are, or at least how I make them, they're all like 10 grid, or excuse me, 12 grid. And I just communicate with my developer with what we can and can't do. So I'm not sure if that answers your question. But it is definitely neither the 4-system grid. Everybody has like a new system that works for them. Honestly, how I design is I keep the bootstrap mentality in mind, and then I have my 12 columns for desktop. I have the 4 columns for mobile, and I believe you guys are gonna like shoot me in the foot if I get the wrong columns for tablet. But I believe it is 6 to 8 there, but in between there, it's basically just responsive, and you need to just make sure that you work with your developer to make things work in between those spaces. But things have gotten really complicated now with technology, or just what you need to have, how you need to think in terms of your design in percentages, more so on the developer side, or if you're using something, other platforms that are no code or low code, you have to keep in mind there's more than just there's just so many sizes now. Okay, without my TED talk continuing, so we have my dollar amount, we have a little bit about it, and we have our buy now. I'm gonna bump this up to, yeah, just a little dark right there. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this. I might wanna, let me play with this a little bit. I'm gonna group this, and maybe I want to center it. Probably not. I'm gonna put that back where it was. Let me pull this in a little bit. All right. It always is easy to get like into the nitty-gritty details, but let's get into just finishing one, and then we'll get into finagling what needs to be finagled. All right, so what we have here is I'm going to group this entire thing. I'm going to select it and go to this component plus piece over here. I'm going to hit plus, and now I get my default state, and I can do another state and type hover. So we're going to do two states here. We're going to have one be just the shoe, and on hover we're going to have all that information. So hover is fine. We need to go back into this default state and fix this. So we are going to go into this piece here, and we just want to turn all this stuff. Actually, before I even do that, I'm going to move this stuff down, or this whole group. I'm going to move it down and just turn the opacity down because I want to see something. I'm going to, now that I kind of have this as a component, I have two different states. Ooh, yeah, let's do that first. So I moved the default state, and then the hover state kind of went away. So let's go and fix that hover state. All right, let's see if that works. Default, hover. All right, cool. And I'm going to move this up just a little bit more. Perfect. So now I can bring this back onto my artboard. And I'm going to move it to our default state. And now this should work. So I have my, this is the regular state. And oh, what went down? What happened? All right, let's see what went down. So the hover, that's interesting. So the hover is, or the default is fine. The hover should be working, and it is not. Let me see. Let me pull this off very quickly. That's no bueno. Because we have our 2 bits here. And we did the same thing with this. So if I take this, let me pull this out so you guys can see. Because, so we have the default state, hover state. We have the same thing here. But I do not know why. Let me just pull this in here very quickly. We gotta use our brains, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a second. Oh, you guys are so smart. Hold on. Did I miss something? Oh, you know what? You're right. Thank you guys. I don't know why. Here we go. You guys chat. I'm like so used to just like, oh, it works. Thank you. Wait, hold on. Rosie, thank you so much. You know what? The past couple of weeks without coffee have really been, yes, they've been a travesty. So, all right, let me explain what we need to do. By the way, shout out to Rosie for rejogging my memory. We need to actually make an interaction between the 2 states. I don't know what was going through my mind, long day. We need to make the trigger hover. We need to make the destination the other state, which is our hover, and we can select what animation type we want. We're always going to do snap because we're snappy. We're going to do a 1-second transition just because. And we're going to do the same thing for our hover state. We're going to make sure, actually, we're not going to need that right here. We're just going to, I don't think we need that right now. But let's see. Wait, all right. So we want to be on the default state. There we go. All right, so we have our little pop-up. That's cool and all, but we want some other things to happen. We want the image to move, maybe scale a little bit. So I'll move this back to where it belongs. We'll move that right back over there. And we will continue with our piece here. People in the chat are asking, why no coffee? We're trying to do better. We are trying to do, Let me see this actually. I'm gonna keep the, I want this one because this is gonna change everything. All right, so what I'm gonna do now that we have our default, I want to make sure that when we hover, we have our price, but also in the background, I want the photo to move just a little bit. And you can, if you want, if you realized that this piece is quite a few things that you can do. This one actually scales. You can do that as well. I'll show you how, but it won't necessarily make sense for this particular, it won't even make a difference in what we're trying to do in this example. But everything that we've done this week and last week, you can apply it to your design and show us in the Discord. All right, so we have our default. So this should now, there we go. Super simple stuff. That's an easy day. So what we're gonna do now, because we're pretty much towards the end of what we're doing here today, we're going to press R, and I'm just gonna replicate all these. We're gonna have about, remember we did math in the beginning of this, we had 5. So we have, I'm pulling out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm just gonna pull this together. And if you guys are wondering what this is, I don't think I said it, but I hit Control R, which is basically putting it into a repeat grid. And pull out 5. Justin says coffee makes you better, but listen, when you're drinking 3-4 cups of coffee a day and having trouble waking up and going to sleep, that's when you gotta pull back. So that's where we kind of were. All right, here we go. And there we go. We've duplicated all of them, so now we should have that same effect pretty much essentially in all of them. Now what we can go ahead and do is we can change the, what are these guys? Images. We can change the image. So all I need to do is, since this is our main component, this is the actual, the parent, and these are the children, I can actually go into these and change them individually, and it won't affect all of them. However, if I did change this one, it would affect all of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these photos. By the way, this amazing green shoe is from Jade Scarlato from Unsplash. And we're going to go to my layers very quickly. We have rectangle 1831. We're just going to, after copying this, we're going to hit Control Alt V. We're going to paste that beautiful photo in the background here. And I'm going to do the same for all of these. I'm going to make sure that that swoosh is in the center here. I wish I had, if you really spend time getting your product images, you can get those nice photos that all look like one another. Now, for those of you, I'm skipping a lot of steps here. Essentially, what I'm doing is I am selecting, there's these last rectangles that are in these groups. They hold that red shoe image. And what I'm doing is I am copying any photo. It can be from anything you pull in here. It could be from something you just copy from Google. And I'm selecting this rectangle and I'm just hitting the shortcut Control Alt V, or in your case, if you're on a Mac, Command Option V. And I'm going to do that with one more shoe. There we go. All right, so we have our 3 shoes. I'm going to see if I can, let's see how this works. And I might want to, it's the full size already. Oh, and if you guys notice, yep, we still have to do what we did to the hover state, or the default state, we have to do to the hover state. So you'll notice that all of these still have the shoe. So what we're gonna have to do essentially is we need to bring these photos. Uh-oh, hold up. Let me back up. Okay. What we had to do here, so we have our, why did everything change to hover? This is odd, ladies and gentlemen. Let me ungroup this grid very quickly and make sure that, okay, it might have been because I had that repeat grid. All right, so let's try this again. Boom. Let's check it. It should be fine now. I think it was because I kept everything in a repeat grid, and we don't want to do that. All right, that's a good day. And we're just going to finish this up very quickly. I'm just going to copy, grab these, change it to hover. I'm going to grab that back rectangle. Easy day. Boom. What photo is this? We have our hover. Boom. Grab that rectangle. And we have our final shoe here. I'm going to change it to hover. Boom. And we're going to move it just a tad bit so we can see the animation just a little bit. Change them to our default states. All right. And let's hit play. Let's see what we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Easy day, guys. And we're just going to put our title right back up. Hard to read. But this is where we get to play. So we're at 22 minutes. We have about 5 minutes left. So I want to say thank you guys for watching. But also, let's hop into our Discord. And by the way, if you've liked what we've done here thus far, you dig the shoes, all that good stuff, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps tremendously. All right. So I saw a lot of you guys tackle the challenge that we did yesterday with the stacks. You guys did some excellent work, especially with the cards. Nice and organized, have them resized. You did some excellent work. You found some good assets. I am very proud. This one was from, let's see, Annie Ann. That was honestly one of my favorite ones thus far from yesterday's submissions. We also had day 5 submissions. Got some nice asset pools. This was for the vertical scroll challenge. You guys in the chat, Brandon needs some coffee immediately. Honestly, I would agree, but I feel good in the ability to have like sustained energy throughout the day. All right, and this was by Ash. All right, let's replay that. Gotta give some shout outs to the Mercedes-Benz love out here. We have the cards working nicely. We have the nice interactions with the buttons. Beautiful. Let's see. And there was one a little bit earlier. For those of you guys who tried out Dimension last week, I'm in love with your work. All right, so we have the nice verticals. We're out here in Animal Crossing. Very nice. And there was, yes, let's take a look at Surf Camp. Nice assets used here. I love when you guys use different assets to tell what, or really bring to life what it is that you want to bring to life in these challenges. Even though you guys have the starter files, I really love when you put your own spin on it. But I have to say, because I love when you guys are doing 3D, and I'm curious to know how many of you have in the chat have tried Dimension from our challenge last week. There was another Among Us piece that is now slipping my mind. But it was very nice, and I love the fact that you guys with that are like storytelling within your XD prototypes. Like you're adding Easter eggs, you're adding interesting functionality. Maybe this was it. You guys are playing around with the 3D assets. Some nice hover interactions. Very cool stuff. So I highly recommend, again, if you haven't already, you're stumbling here upon, or stumbling upon us for the first time in the XD Creative Challenge. The starter kits are down below, as well as joining us for the challenge. I believe Sam has just sent through the links again to join the Discord and the challenges. What I will say, though, ladies and gentlemen, is we are at time here. I want to thank you guys for joining, and I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. And until then, take a peek at what we have, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, with that said, see you tomorrow. Bye.